Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel. You can also check me out on Spotify. However you're listening to my voice, I appreciate it. It's WrestleMania week, but we're going to be talking mostly about AEW Dynamite. We're also going to be talking about Gulia, spelled like Gulia, former Stardom superstar, now free agent, showed up in Noah. So everyone was like, well, I guess she's not going to WrestleMania weekend. Heavily rumored to sign to WWE, but also heavily rumored to stay in Japan and help the former owner of Stardom start his new company. So there's tons of rumors going on with Gulia. She's in Noah, which is interesting because Noah is under the umbrella of Cyber Fight. So there are women that wrestle on DDT in the Cyber Fight family. Tokyo Joshi Pro, which is all women, but Noah's strictly all dudes, and she comes out there, the biggest company of those three, I would say. Historically, I would think maybe DDT might be a little bigger nowadays. I don't know. But she's going to be on one of their shows. But then she was shown in the airport from possibly coming to America. So that's, gets the imagination going. I don't think she's going to come and be a part of the Ring of Honor show because of the affiliation with Stardom. And the next biggest shows are the collective shows, and they're kind of in bed with WWE this year, allowing, Shayna Baszler and others to wrestle on Bloodsport and be a part of that whole thing. So this is interesting. What's not really interesting to me is Drew Gulak pulling on Ronda Rousey's drawstring. I think, I don't know. I think that might be a little silly of a complaint. And to bring in a name like Drew Gulak into the news along with Vince McMahon, with the horrendous allegations that Vince McMahon is facing, to kind of bring in a guy who's always seemed to me, as someone looking in to be a stand-up guy and someone who's helped lots of people train. To bring up his name onto such a big platform, I think that was kind of in poor taste of Ronda. She's a much bigger star. She could have gotten him fired right then and there. She really wanted to. So I don't know. I'm not really a fan of Ronda doing that. I'm also not a fan of Bubba Ray Dudley kind of throwing his name in the hat. CM Punk complained about Jungle Boy in the MMA Hour interview with Ariel Helwani. And then Bubba Ray Dudley said that Jungle Boy is a dick because he didn't say hello to him. It's like, come on, man. I mean, I get how that would be kind of rude, but, just to not say hello to somebody, that's just a little iffy too. So maybe these stars of wrestling could maybe, stop piggybacking off of WrestleMania, stop piggybacking off of CM Punk interviews and things like that, and just maybe let a few things go and realize that not everything is about them all the time. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of turn here. Let me know in the comments below if you think that. But let's jump into AEW Dynamite. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the things that happened in between the matches. Then I'm going to rank every single match from worst to first. Adam Copeland comes out there. Okay, so this I thought was good. In the body of the wrestling show, comes out and kind of addresses CM Punk without saying CM Punk. Of course, CM Punk drug AEW through the mud a little bit here, and he comes out and he says he wants to talk about positives. He says that he wants to talk about how AEW is good for wrestling and how, growing up, he was into all different kinds of wrestling, and that explains why he decided to end his career in AEW, because he wanted to be kind of like his version of Stampede, his version of Crockett, and things like that. And then he introduces Will Ospreay. I thought this was, a good thing to do, maybe for the locker room, and maybe to kind of solidify Adam Copeland as that locker room leader. Why not? He's, definitely a veteran, definitely been all around the world wrestling. I can see him being that locker room leader, so that's kind of cool. Chris Jericho comes out, brings out Hook. Jericho wants Hook to believe. Hook says he does believe, and that's why they got a match together on Collision going up against Shane Taylor Promotions and Chris Jericho says, bet. I remember back in 2018, someone asked me if I knew what bet meant, and I said, yeah, it's just a really cool new way to say you betcha. And they did not like that answer, but they could not deny the truth of that answer. You betcha. It's really what it means. If you were to say, hey man, we still going to Waffle House later? And you say, bet. Or, hey man, we're going to Waffle House later, right? You betcha. It's the same thing. So I never really bought into bet being a really cool thing to say, because I saw between the lines and I knew that people were really just saying you betcha. You might as well just do the finger guns at somebody when you say bet at them, because it's really just saying you betcha. The Young Bucks, they pull up in a nice car. Best friends pull up with their mom's minivan, kind of foreshadowing what we're going to talk about a little later. Willow comes out, does an interview on top of the ramp. Solid delivery. I like this old school shot where they're filming the crowd behind them. They're filming Worcester, Mass. Faithful, while they're cutting a promo on the top of the ramp. Solid delivery. Not much on this promo, but then it gets interrupted by the CEO. The music hits. Mercedes Moné comes out. Willow visibly not happy that Mercedes kind of stole her thunder here, but it still went down. Penta kind of had a mid-promo, and then we went into the contract signing. Joe out there, Prince Nana, and the whole crowd letting Joe know whose house it is, Swerve's house. He says he is going to leave him mentally scarred, like he left Diddy's party too late. Swerve gets in his face and cuts a promo. Then he says, now run that fade on that. What did he say? He says, run that fade on that, bitch. That's what he said. That was a direct quote from from Swerve Strickland. Joe then attacks him with the chain, definitely does run the fade, leaves him laying in a pool of blood, but Swerve cackling and says if that's all you got, he's going to walk away with the title. So Joe walks right down there and puts him through a table. I think this kind of solidified that I think Swerve is going to get this title. They're putting too much on Joe during this build. That rubs the bloody face of Swerve in the contract, signing his contract in blood for Dynasty. And I only really know that there's a 6-man tag with Adam Copeland, Mark Briscoe, and Eddie versus the House of Black. There's Swerve and Joe. That's going to be a great match. Ospreay and Danielson. So those 3 matches alone, going to be a great match. I think Mercedes Moné probably going to debut as well. But there were 5 big matches on AEW Dynamite this week, and we're going to rank all of them from worst to first. All of them good, but there is a hierarchy here. Jay White versus Billy Gunn. Daddy Ass attacking him on the top of the ramp. Looking cool in the shadows here during this entrance. Nice camera shot. Brawling in the crowd. They showed that the Acclaim got attacked backstage. They are laid out. Switchblade getting the upper hand. Famous or City from Daddy Ass, he gets a chair, but then the Ass Boys come out and plead him to stop. That allows Jay to hit the low blow. He gets DQ'd, 3-on-1 attacked, but then the Acclaimed run out there. They start attacking Switchblade. They almost put him through a table before the Ass Boys save him and scamper away. That was a solid match, but it wasn't as good as number 4, Mariah May and Thunder Rosa. Toni Storm at ringside. Mariah May with the hip attack and dropkick 1-2. Rosa gets in control on the outside. Strike battle in the ring. I love Toni Storm on commentary here. She says, where is she from? The graveyards of Tijuana? That explains her complexion. I don't know. Toni Storm just cracks me up here. Tijuana Bomb 1, 2, 3. The number 1 contender is Thunder Rosa for Toni Storm's World Championship. The lady who never lost gets another shot at the title that should, I guess in her eyes is still around her waist, metaphorically. But that didn't crack the top 3. That didn't make the podium. Number 3, Best Friends versus the Young Bucks. Sue and Chuck at ringside. Tournament semifinals, Final 4 if you will. Matthew was going for a kick, was going to kick Sue, but Chuck Taylor stepped in, jumped in the way. Sue knew what was happening. She knew his intention, so she slapped him. He turns around, eats an orange punch. Strong 0-1-2. Nicholas breaks it up. Matthew with a handful of tights. 1-2-3. Bucks get to advance in the tournament finals like some chicken shit heels that they are. But the real story of this match afterwards, best friends go for a hug, but Trent just hits a running knee, taking out Orange Cassidy instead. Chuck looking like he's going to cry. He can't believe it. I can't believe it. The faction that's been there since the beginning of AEW is no more. Why, Trent? Why? Hopefully we figure out that next week on Dynamite, because who's kidding who? No one is going to be watching AEW this weekend. Collision is going to air at 11:30 p.m. after the final 4 games. So if you want to keep watching Turner, you can, after 2 games of basketball, or WrestleMania isn't over, or is over, and you still want to watch wrestling, I'm really interested in these ratings. I want, because they're going to have a good lead-in. They're going to have the lead-in of the basketball game, but they're going to also have most of their fans watching WrestleMania. This is going to be pretty interesting. But let's jump into number 2. Lance Archer versus Bryan Danielson. All Archer in the early going here. Archer relentless, but Danielson lands some kicks to the left leg, trying to knock down the tree. Then he builds up, hitting some running knees. Yes, kicks. But the thing about this tree is it fucking hits choke slams. This tree hits choke slams, folks. Danielson still able to stay on him. Lands 3 kicks to the head. Now you know he dead. 1, 2, 3. Danielson gets the win. The best match on the show, though, was the opening match, the Curtain Jerker. Will Hobbs versus Will Ospreay. Callis at ringside. Will getting pounced and suplexed on some steps. Hobbs going up top. Not his lane, though. No one home. Oscutter 1, 2. No. Some lariats from Hobbs. Power slam off the top. 1, 2. Ospreay kicks out. Sky Twister press. Hidden blade. 1, 2, 3. Will Ospreay gets the victory. Don Calliso celebrating with Will Ospreay. Hobbs not really excited about that since they are in the same faction. He says, "Hey, you're my manager too, buddy." And then as Ospreay is leaving, Danielson's music hits, interrupting Ospreay's exit with his entrance. This has been a staple of AEW the past few months. They did it a lot with the Deonna Purrazzo Tony Storm program, and I'm really not a fan of it. It's supposed to like tease tension of them just walking by each other, and it's whatever. It's whatever. I think it's kind of it's a little lazy booking a little bit. Oh, they walked by each other. Oh, you interrupted my exit with your entrance. You weren't supposed to come out now. You were supposed to come out after the break. I don't know, kind of bullshit, but I'm still excited about Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. I'm still excited about WrestleMania week. I'm not going to let veterans like Ronda Rousey and Bully Ray ruin, the current wrestlers like Jungle Boy and Drew Gulak. And I'm excited to see where Julia is headed. Oh, I forgot to talk about WWE Speed. Man, how did I forget this? So there's a new concept, WWE Speed. They're going to have tournament matches that are 3 minutes long. They're going to show them on X or Twitter, which I love because a platform that people love to get on to talk about wrestling is X or Twitter. And this is something that WWE has never really shared exclusive content on for the most part. So here they are sharing exclusive content on a platform that a lot of wrestling fans are on, and they are doing something where there's usually, if you go to Raw or SmackDown, there's a break. Like during the commercial break, there is just nothing happening on the show. It's just darkness. So here, to fill that void during the commercial break, they have a 3-minute match. And because it's a 3-minute match, it makes sense to have guys like Ricochet and Dragon Lee, who they just had a match for, and Cedric Alexander, who they had a match for as well, going up against Bronson Reed, wrestle really quickly because it's only 3 minutes. So the concept is great. It makes sense logically of why they would wrestle so quickly in the ring. It also makes it for a better live experience, and then you're able to use that content on a platform where a lot of wrestling fans are on anyways. It's like a full circle 360 great idea, and I'm excited to see more of it. I watched the Dragon Lee Ricochet match, and I think to my surprise, Dragon Lee won. I guess that speaks volumes. I guess I don't remember who won, but I think Dragon Lee won, and I think and I know Bronson Reed beat Cedric Alexander. I like it. I think all around live experience, bettering the live experience, check. Getting more content on a platform where wrestling fans are already on, check. And making sense for why they would wrestle so fast in the confines of a wrestling show, check. So it hits all boxes here, and I fucking love it. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. WWE Speed. Hell yeah, man. Fly high, I'm out.